Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 12, Chapter 17. The Ladder and the Steps. India was the nursery of heroes who adventured into the realms of the spirit and achieved victories against the forces of evil. They opened up the paths to God that are described in the texts of Sanatana Dharma, eternal universal religion. India is the sacred land from where the voice of the Vedas, sacred scriptures, rang over the world. It is the land which still retains the splendor of yoga, divine communion, and the glory of renunciation. But every Indian has now to question himself whether he is aware of this fact and whether he is helping by his acts, words, and thoughts to promote that glory and that splendor. One has to admit that the glory is being dimmed, the splendor is fast fading out. The Gayatri Mantra, the Vedic prayer meant to illuminate the intellect, once enjoined upon all as the most sacred of Vedic chants, has now been reduced to a mere ritual performed mechanically with mumbled, barely intelligible sounds. Pranayama, breath control, and its latter stage of pratyahara, the control of the senses, and of their endless pursuit of external pleasure, are discoverable only in the dictionaries. Yama and niyama, abstention from evil doing, and various observances of devotion to God, the first steps in spiritual discipline, are not practiced at all, even by those who claim to teach and guide. Members of the monastic order who have vowed to detach themselves completely from worldly involvements and attachments are running about frantically, accumulating and investing money, often with even greater fanaticism than householders. One wonders if this is the same land that one reads about, the land that held high ideals of the spirit. Shankara's mission to revitalize Hindu Dharma. With the return of Krishna to his abode after the incarnation interlude, the age of Kali darkened the world. Many preceptors, saints, and sages tried subsequently to remind the people of their heritage and guide them along the ancient path. Of these, Shankara, who realized the weakness of a dualistic interpretation of the universe and the need for a unifying philosophy, was the most effective. He was born in the village of Kaladi, situated in the Kerala state. Initiated into the Gayatri Mantra in his 5th year, he mastered the Vedas and their supplementary texts on grammar, logic, prosody, astrology, etc. And in his 14th year itself, he ventured forth on his mission of counteracting the forces of doubt, dissent, and denial, and establishing faith, wisdom, and devotion throughout the land. He encountered many scholars reputed for their dialectical skill and convinced them of the validity of the non-dualistic basis of the subjective and objective worlds. He wrote commentaries on the Upanishads, metaphysical scriptures, and the Bhagavad Gita, the song teaching of Lord Krishna, and the Brahma Sutras, aphorisms on Supreme Spirit, generally accepted as the authentic texts of the Hindu faith. He dedicated his short life of 32 years to the revitalization of the Sanatana Dharma, eternal universal religion. the weapon to destroy the delusion. When Shankara was residing in Varanasi, Benares city, on the banks of the river Ganga with his pupils, he used to visit the Pandits in their own houses and draw them into conversation on themes of philosophy. One day, when he went to a Pandit, he found him immersed in complicated rules of grammar. When asked why he had taken up the intensive study of grammar, he replied that it would easily fetch him a few pieces of silver. If I am designated a Pandit, I can go to the home of some big zamindars and receive alms and offerings from them for the upkeep of my large family, he said. Shankara advised him in appropriate terms and charged him with self-confidence and courage. Returning to his hermitage, Shankara wrote a verse summarizing the advice he gave the poor, struggling Brahmin householder. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Muda Mate. Samprapte sannihite kale nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. Praise God, praise God, praise God, O mind steeped in ignorance. When death knocks at thy door, rules of grammar cannot save you. Shankara exhorted his pupils to disseminate the ideal of this verse, and they too responded with verses on the same lines, each of the 14 contributing one verse. Shankara added another 12 of his own, as well as 4 more verses about the transformation that the teaching would confer. Thus, there are 31 verses in all in the text called Bhaja Govindam or Moha Muktaram. The latter name means the weapon with which delusion can be destroyed. Each one is a step in the ladder which lifts man to God. The study of these verses and the inspiration derived from them will promote discrimination and detachment, and thus prepare the mind for the vision of the Supreme. You have to be initiated into these disciplines now itself. When you are young and entering on the adventure of living, and so I have decided to expound to you 1 verse a day during this summer course. Those who deny the Atma are fools, says Shankara. Shankara addressed these verses to Muda Mate, the foolish person. Now, who are these fools? He has given the answer in another context. Nastiko Muda Uchate. Those who deny the Atma are fools. Those who assert and believe that I am not this perishable body, I am not this feeble intellect. I am the underlying, everlasting, all-knowing, all-inclusive Atma, are few indeed. The vast majority assert and believe that I am the molder of my destiny. I am the captain of my ship. I choose my likes and dislikes. I fulfill my desire through my own efforts. These are the fools. But even this vast majority pay taxes in ordinary life for the water they use, the electricity they consume, the houses they live in, and the professions they are engaged in. Now what tax are they paying to him who provides them with the essential requisites for mere living? The sun, the moon, fire, water, air, space, etc. Those who do not recognize the giver, the provider, the principle, the person, they are the fools. Scientists can weigh, measure, and analyze materials that already exist. They can, by means of permutations and combinations, put into currency strange forms and shapes from out of existing matter. But they cannot create oxygen or hydrogen or any other things anew. That can happen only through the will of God. Without any matter originally supplied, no scientist can deal with things from the very beginning. They are helpless in the realm beyond earth, water, fire, air, and space, the subject matter of the senses. Their activities are confined to nature, which is but the part manifestation of the divine. The verse with which Shankara started off the Moha Muktaram speaks of the moment of the approach of the end of life. This indicates that of all the fears of man, the fear of death is the fiercest as well as the most foolish. For, having committed the error of birth, none can escape death. To get rid of the wheel of birth and death, awareness of the undying, unborn Atma, which is one's reality, is the only method available to man. So Shankara advises man to pray to Govinda. He refers to God as Govinda. Govinda means he who is the cowherd. Man is both animal and divine being. He has risen from the animal level and is on the way to reveal his divinity. Man should be vigilant that he does not slide into animal again. Man alone can rise into Godhead, for he is equipped with the endowment needed for the achievement. Brindavan, May 21st, 1973.